What's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome to the Temtem Up podcast, where we give you all the information about competitive Temtem and what to look forward to in the upcoming weeks. Today it is going to be Servo and Adikar. How have you been, Servo?
Hey, boo boo.
Hey, boo
What's in the
boo!
picnic bag? It's not Yowler, that's for sure. But he still ain't out yet.
Yeah, Yowler's not here, bro. Where is he at? There were so many of us that thought it was gonna be like yesterday. We thought it was gonna be Tuesday. We thought there was gonna be an update to change the pick ban phase back to normal because they said it was only gonna be a week, and then we're like, we're like literally just praising, like, come on, please, just let the next update come out, man. And it didn't come out. It didn't come out, man. I hate it. Ugh. Yeah. Other than
On the
that,
bright side, you got your wish that comp is still the same.
yeah, that's actually really good. Um, what I was hoping for, I like, well, I mean, it's not for the reasons I thought though. I I was thinking 1 week isn't enough time to see if Pickman system is going to change much, and the reason why they're making it longer is because a lot of people were pretty much deranking themselves so that they could play worse players and then just grinding a ton of Pansuns for like the rest of the week, which is kind of messed up in my opinion. So it kind
Yep.
of messed up any sort of way that they thought Pickman system could have changed anything. All the stuff that they wanted to test, all of the information is invalid because now the higher ranked players are playing lower ranked players. So no matter what, like regardless if they're blue or orange, they're gonna have a higher percent win rate. So that's pretty stupid.
Yeah, you see what happens when you sandbag? We get stuff for another week.
Keep doing it, guys. Keep doing it. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I'm pretty happy that the pick ban phase is still here. I think a lot of competitive players think the same way. It's definitely in my opinion, it's a better system. Anything that makes it to where orange side isn't getting every single advantage in the game during pick and ban phase, that makes me happy. So I think a lot of other people probably think the same thing. What about you?
I think it's fine. It's definitely a lot better. You're not at the point of where, oh man, I'm orange. This is gonna be easy. Or
Yeah.
blue is just like, oh man, now I gotta sweat my ass off.
Yeah, whenever you used to get orange, it used to feel good, and then whenever you got blue, it's just like, God damn it, I'm blue again. Like every time you got blue, regardless if you had orange like the last 3 times, you'd always assume just like, dude, I'm blue again. Like this sucks, dude. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It's not as bad anymore. There are some people that enjoy the orange side, because they get counter ban, and there are some sides that obviously like the counter pick. I think the differences within the pick ban system right now is when you run a toxic comp, like what Turbo and Plat are running, there's kind of like theories going around that orange side is better for them because they get counter ban, so they know what's going to be banned first, and then they counter ban what their lineup is going to be for the two Tems. Um, Allowing them to force them into a first pick. So if they go, like, let's say a lot of people are starting off Kinu, they start off Kinu, now they can like literally double pick their squad to associate with whatever the counter pick is going to be, or in order to punish the Kinu slot on turn one without really caring what the counter pick is going to be. So I actually think with toxic comps, it's looking a little bit different. With orange side still, I think, being favorable for them. Just with the once you get the information and knowledge of what is going to be starting up on turn one, it helps them a lot, I think.
I mean, I admit I still enjoy orange over blue still.
Yeah. I think with specific matchups though, when it's not toxic comp, I think blue side is probably more favorable for most other comps, but I think just toxic comp in general, it helps a lot for them, like an extreme amount. I think if you're running neutral Tems, if you're running something like Mooflink Scunch, obviously you want blue side because if they don't pick a mental Tem, then you get free reign on Scunch or Mooflink. But if you're not running like those Tems or a lot of the kind of stuff running around right now, if you're running Toxic Comp, I think orange side is better. If you're running anything else, it seems like blue is probably slightly favorable. That's
Which I think
my
is fine.
Yeah, that's my analogy on it. That's what I believe on what I've seen people play um over the last week.
We need to do an analysis on the tournaments to see what sides seem to win more.
Yeah.
Do kind of our own research.
Yeah. I mean, I just wish that when they said they want to do more stats on like, you know, we want to know like us as players, we want to know like what the odds and stats and everything is on which side and all that. But Crema won't give us the information, which is kind of annoying just because we want to know. They say before they were saying, okay, pick ban phase is balanced. It's close to 50-50, but like are you saying like it's 55-45? Are you saying like it's like 50.2 49.8? Like how are we supposed to know any of this information? And with them saying that, like when you think about it, 55%, 45%, it's not a 5% disadvantage, it's literally like a 10% disadvantage because over 100 games you're going to win 10 more games than your opponent. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I wish we just had all the information that they would have, so that we could understand more and also look into why those are the things that are happening. And yo, Jolts, thanks for the raid, man. I appreciate you. Hail ye. Yeah, that's I, I don't know. I feel like they hide a lot of stuff from us. Rip. But yeah, with that being said, with the pick ban phase though, yeah, I pretty much in conclusion, it's looking nice. It seems definitely more balanced, especially with the way that I've been doing my matches, all the matches I've been spectating and commentating and stuff. Uh, it seems like it's not bad to have either, depending on your team composition. Like, there's definitely advantages on each pick ban now, on which one you'd rather take. But yeah, so what we usually do always on the podcast, we go over bug fixes first after we get our, little intro that we always go with, going over like all the new stuff going on and introducing ourselves. So yeah, bug fixes or bug add-ons, but bug unfixes, I guess, because key new raise always just kind of like is fixed and then it's ruined and then it's fixed and then ruined again. So yeah, let's go over bug fixes, Servo. Yeah, tell them what's going
There's
on.
there's pretty much only one this week. It's quite a doozy. I'll have to explain this one kind of in depth because there's a lot happening with this one. So everyone who played originally before they started messing around, this is mostly around when Mooflink got added. This is when it started messing up when they decided to update and try to fix it. But everyone knows how if there was a double death based on your Tem's speed that died, that determined when they came in. Now, if you had Rays that could demoralize both Tems, if there was a second Tem to come in, you know that both Tems get demoralized instead of just the one. Well, what's happening is that it's still doing that. Don't worry, it's still doing that. You just can't see it happen. The battle log doesn't update correctly, even for spectators, that you cannot tell your other Tem's been demoralized, regardless of the Tem's speed when they come in on death.
Yeah. So that's also one thing with Raise. It's also doing the same thing with Kinu. Pretty much anything that is a bring in buff or debuff, I think it's doing that with. We haven't really, looked into, you know, Mooflink because there's also, Mooflink sometimes doesn't get its buff, right? Well, maybe that's still happening. We just don't know because we haven't came across it yet, where it's actually just a spectator bug. It gets the buff, but it's not showing up on the actual fight that's happening at the time. In order to know, you would have to have a second account or a friend spectate the game and say, hey, do I have this +1 speed? Okay, do I have this, protector buff? Do I have this demoralized debuff? And with that happening, that makes it pretty annoying. Not only has it happened like with the demoralized bug, didn't you say also that when it's the first Tem in as Raise and then the opponent brings in the second Tem, it actually debuffs both Tems instead of just one?
Yes, both Tems received a demoralized, even though it will not show up on the person fighting, as well as spectators currently spectating. If you exit out and respectate, it will show up properly.
Yeah, so not only is Demoralize going off as normal like it's supposed to, but it's also now like an added buff that's happening where it doesn't matter about the speed of the death Tems that were just in play. Now, if Raze comes in first instead of second to get a double demoralize, even if it comes in first, it still double demoralizes. It demoralizes both Tems, but the enemy can't see it. So that means they may think, okay, well, I'm not demoralized. I still have normal speed. I'm going to outspeed Raze here. But realistically, they already have the -1 speed buff, and they don't know it, so they're going to go last. And there have been a couple games on stream that has shown this bug happen, and maybe even countless games where people don't know why they're slower, and they just think, oh, that Tem has a lot of speed, and they don't actually know what happened in that fight. So with that happening, it's definitely really, really rough. So in order to fix this, if you want to know, if you're ever playing against Raze or Kinu, and if you want to test it, move flank, whenever there's a time that move flank doesn't actually get the unnoticed proc when it's supposed to, you're going to need a second account spectating your own matches, or having a friend spectate your match in order to see if the bug is happening, or if you actually get the demoralized buff, or if you actually get the Kinu buff, or even the unnoticed proc. Another thing that happened in Club Wars, which is happening with the same kind of bug line, because what Servo and I believe is unnoticed, Kinu, Protector, and Raze Demoralize. We think they're all kind of on the same coding line, so every single time they kind of like mess with the coding line to try to fix one of the two, it kind of messes with all three. And I think that's why there's been like countless updates trying to fix the bugs that are happening with these. It used to be 2 Tems, but now 3 Tems. But what happened in Club Wars is it didn't dictate the match at all. It didn't really matter, but we saw it happen where Kinu came in on a death switch in for the last Tem, and it was supposed to protector buff the Sernif, and it didn't protector buff it. So that was something that happened, but when somebody spectated it afterwards, which we also checked, we did it live, we saw that it actually was a 5-5 Sernif instead of a 4-4 Sernif. It just didn't show the protector buff. So that's why we know it's Raze Demoralize and Kinu Protector, and we're just kind of thinking that all three are on the same kind of coding line, to where maybe it's even happening with unnoticed speed for move flank. So yeah, that's kind of an annoying bug. That's the only one that's happening right now that we know of. But yeah, pretty annoying stuff, especially when you don't even know what's happening and you're gonna lose a game for it. So hopefully people can find some sort of solution just by spectating their own games in order for this not to happen. And if you don't have a second account, that's pretty rough. I mean, there's kind of nothing we can really say about that until they actually fix it themselves. But
say go make some friends.
Oh man, we got clubs, man. We got clubs around in Discord. So, all right. So yeah, with all the bug fixes that were, one bug fix
Fix
for numerous. Oh, yeah, not even fixed. Yeah, added into the game. Yeah, let's get into the PlusOP weekly. It was the only tournament that happened this week, all weekend. So yeah, let's jump into this and let's show off the team comp. We always go after the finals team review. We always look over the last 2 teams, and then we kind of like, talk about strengths and weaknesses, how they play well against each other, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's get into that. And with this tournament, or at the end of this tournament, was his 25th tournament. So Plus is, yeah, I can't wait till that 100 mark, man. When the game releases, you think the game's gonna be released by the time it gets to 100? That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be nice.
Well, as it's already been like 9 months since the game's been out,
Yeah.
and we're only on 25.
I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, it was Buff Duck versus Turby. Buff Duck and Turby have been in so many tournaments and showcasing a lot of different teams, but lately Turby has been using a toxic variation, and Buff Duck just kind of like he likes the Tem, and he just like puts it into a comp, practices with it, and he just has fun with it, right? He doesn't really care if it's like the meta. Oh, you're not supposed to use Golder, dude. He's bad. He's E tier. Like, he doesn't care about any of that, and obviously showing in here, he makes it to the finals with Babwa and Golder. And yeah, let's go over Buff Duck's team and see what kind of synergies and what nice things are to do with Buff Duck's team.
So synergies, I don't know where the beginning. I mean, when I first look at this, it's just like, all right, Kino Gaialis, where the hell are they?
Yeah, right.
Is like just starting off looking at the team. The Volcrane is the biggest surprise, honestly, of the entire thing. It's like, all right, I can understand not having a Fire Tem for Dracast energy, but then I see Volcrane, and it's just like, well, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. You're yesterday's news. But seeing Valorant's familiar face, it's just a versatile Tem. Barnchy and Mix are his mentals, the punish double neutrals if that does come. Wolfie is just good DPS. Same with Mix and Barnchy being the high wind and Crystal. Babawa, uh, it's nature.
True.
What does this thing do again?
Water cutting lily?
uh,
Kappa?
like I feel like I'm talking bad about it, but at the same time, like I don't know what this thing does. But I mean, obviously it made it work, it made finals, so a lot of other people didn't know what it did, and they got stumped by it. So let's say I did know that this thing is mucus, so I was able to handle fires very well, having dual typing, being the only thing it really can't handle are other natures and toxics. Very unfortunate lineup then. He's facing against. And then having Mooflank and Golder as the sidewinders, being able to pressure DPS with Mooflank, and then Golder able to punish Nagas.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first like saw the team, I was just like I was kind of like confused on how like the matchups were going to go. Honestly, like I really just didn't know. Um I didn't really know what the team really countered. I understand it has like the mix Barnchy. Barnchy is a super good starter, by the way. Barnchy also does well against toxic comps just because it has um, either Hypoxia or Windburst, whatever they decide to run, and then they have Beta Burst and Tornado. So it's like really, really good for a starter. It's pretty quick as well, so it always gets its attacks off first. Um, Valorant is Valorant. It's just super strong, especially if it doesn't get dealt with quickly. It gets a lot of aerobic stacks, and we all know what happens when something gets speed and doesn't get touched. Just like unnoticed on Mooflank, it just starts like just dishing out a ton of damage. Difference between Mooflank and Valorant is Mooflank doesn't run out of stamina while Valorant does, and um, yeah, Mix doing well just because Mix is kind of like in that average teeny, like slightly above average Tem, where it's like gonna do pretty well, especially with the right TV spreads. And then when it hits Puppet Master, it's not as good anymore, but it used to be amazing. When it hit Puppet Master, just because there weren't so many AOE moves, but nowadays there's quite a bit of AOE moves. Looking at Turby's team, you know, you have tsunamis, you have toxic plumes, you got more tsunamis, allergic spread, Kappa. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on for Turby in order to deal with that. Wolfie is also in the mix. I think Wolfie is just super strong, especially when you're running the good old Team Elusive. I think honestly that's what makes Wolfie. Sure, Handcuffs is really strong, but I think Team Elusive just makes it way too strong. Or not way too strong, but just makes it that 10 that you kind of want on your team almost at all times. Yeah, the thing that was really cool was Golder put in quite a bit of work into this team, especially against Turbies. He only has for wind damage Whiplump and Loali, so as long as he had something to do with one of those, it was really nice seeing a Golder in play. It obviously tanks up all the waters. It also tanks up toxic damage. And yeah, it's just super bulk HP. Using toxic inks and what is it, pollution or what is it? I forget what it's called. But the AoE toxic move.
Pollution is the double apply 2 poisons, yes.
Yeah, is there another one that hits 2 times on the other side?
I mean, if you want Toxic Gas Golder, go ahead. But
Yeah, I think it was toxic gas, but I don't think he had that. But yeah, Golder's been doing pretty well, and Babwa, I mean, doesn't look like it does very well against this team, unless you're tanking water damage, so like Yukama. And in all 3 games, Turby started with Yukama, so it was pretty sick. But yeah, let's go over Turby's team. Let's take a look at that really quick.
pretty much, if you know a Toxic team, there you go. Bread and butter.
Carrot.
I mean, if you know it well, Loali bringing good DPS. Ukama, if you haven't fought one of these in a while, you might forget this thing still exists. But yeah, it provides very good synergy with Toxic Temps, allowing it to get Water Cannon up to its synergy and apply 2 points of poison. as well as Platamus, Mushuk, Voloran, and Nid all enabling it, especially with Urushiol from Platamus, Mushuk, and Lowally itself being able to apply poison ticks and pressure you down. Gaialis, if I remember right, never saw this field because it was banned every time. I was watching this match and it was really very entertaining. And the Whip Lump is honestly just a very good Tem. It may seem kind of weak in the current meta with with high usage of natures, but you have to realize Whip Lump is one of the hardest special attack users in the game and one of the hardest hitters with Tornado that isn't increased by Irrespect.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what you're saying with toxic teams like the staple. I mean, Nidrasil, Platamus, those are like the two that are pretty much in there, and then with Mashuk as well for the double Urushils, depending on the starting lineup that they see. Um, a lot of them are also running Yukama just because of the poison synergy with water cannon, and then people are running Lowally for the wind damage as well. In this team, he's running the Whip Lump, Volerand, and Lowally, and then he has just Giles because it covers a lot. It doesn't really have a full weakness exactly, and just very strong. Also Volerand with Toxic Plume for that works out really well. Just added little side bonus. Um, yeah, I think Toxic Team's really strong. A while ago I even said like, okay, there's like, if you want to think of like the S tier teams, if you wanted to like create a team, Toxic, and then the normal, well, at the time it was like 3 nature, what was it, 3 nature, 2 crystal with like Volerin, something else. I forget exactly what I was saying, but it's like those 6 with like 2 flex picks. Well, this is kind of the same thing. It's like toxic teams are doing extremely well right now. A lot of people are starting to pick up more toxic teams by adding in their own variation. And yeah, Turby's one of them to pick it up. He's been using it roughly 3 or 4 weeks now. And it's just working out really, really well. The whole, Nidrasil, Platamus, Mashuk starting lineup, and or even Lowally because of Urushiol as well. It's just looking really strong. Covers a lot too. But yeah, in this matchup, it was Turby winning 2-1. Turby was picking orange side. Like what I was saying is orange side is very strong in my opinion for toxic teams just because of the way that they know what's normally gonna come off first pick. And they get counter ban on first ban, so that whatever Buff Duck bans, he kind of knows what he's trying to ban in order to start something. So he bans whatever he believes is going to start because of it. In this matchup, it didn't matter too much because it's always going to be Voloran or Barnchi, so he kind of knew exactly which one he was going to ban regardless. But yeah, it happened to be a 2-1 Turby victory. And on Golder's, Golder was banned in the 3rd match, which Golder was like the reason why Buff Duck won game 2, in my opinion, and it did extremely well. So without the Golder being able to do tank damage and being able to get toxic inks off on the targets that he really needs it on, was kind of rough. Yukama did so much work for Turby in this lineup as well. It was I think Yukama was definitely the MVP in this matchup.
Yeah, I can't really think of. It's really hard to play your natures into a bunch of toxics, honestly. Not to mention Okama being able to enable Whiplump's freeze tactics. It's always something to be feared.
Yeah. But yeah, I watched the match afterwards. I didn't watch it during, and yeah, it was definitely. It's nice to see Turby. I really like Turby's play. I think Turby is a really, really good player, and he finally got like that win under his belt. He always gets to finals, and then he just kind of like always loses, and it's just like, damn, dude, he's always that second place finisher. So it's nice to have him see some play here. So yeah, that was the first tournament. What we're gonna start going over on the podcast is we're gonna do a quick recap on the Club Wars. So Club Wars, if anybody does not know, there's 7 clubs that have competitive teams ready, and in these clubs, we've all of these clubs have been around for a long time, but they're mainly just kind of in a Discord. So now that it's being kind of like more publicized, trying to get more traction towards all of these clubs, yeah, we're gonna start going over the Club Wars scoreboard. Club Wars is created by it used to be the Divine Dojo, but now it is called the Dojo. And Tickles, who's also in chat here. Yeah, he's the person who admins it and runs it as much as possible, and well, not as much as possible. He doesn't run it, but he definitely does a lot of work for sure. The person that is in charge of why can't I see it? Divines is Destiny. Destiny and Tickles are pretty much the two that I've seen do whatever they could to make things work out, and yeah. So with that being said, here are the stats for round one. We just say week one, but yeah, week 1 and 2. We didn't go over last week's because we didn't really know how we were gonna go over the Club Wars. Like we wanted to showcase some of the matches, like the teams and all that, kind of go over reviews. But I think what we're going to be doing is looking up the scoreboards, and then if you wanted to watch the games and see all of that, it'll be on it'll either be I plan on casting as many as possible, but because I'm a part of Ronin, I chose not to play in the Club Wars in order to cast all of the Ronin matches every single week. So all of the Ronin matches are definitely going to be on my YouTube. Seeing the full Club War is going to be on there. This week though, all 3 matches are at different days. We're gonna say exactly what days and what times all the Club Wars are on. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week, so every single day is gonna be a Club War, which is gonna be sick. I'm gonna try to do all 3. They're all different times and stuff. So yeah. Yeah, week 1, Enigma against Dynasty. Enigma takes it 5-3. If you're up to date with it already, all of this was a week prior, week and a half prior. So Enigma versus Dynasty, it was 5-3. Paradox versus Yip. We happened to cast that, and yeah, I don't know why I didn't post it, but saw Paradox versus Yip, and yeah, it went 5-2. Paradox is looking extremely strong in the Club War period. And then Exotic Friends against Transcendence, I think it's called. Let's call it Trance. Um, and they happen to get 5-0. I believe it is Plus's squad, and he doesn't have like the top players in competitive, but they're just doing it, having fun, having a good time. It's really the thing about Transcendent. Okay, okay. The thing about Club Wars is it's fun to just come together with your team and just talk, have a good time, play some matches, mess around, talk with other teams as well. It's always fun, and I think that's the reason why I like Club Wars the most. Honestly, I have the most fun casting Club Wars over anything I've casted so far when it comes to Temtem in general. So I'm super excited to like cast as many matches as possible for you guys to see. And yeah, that covers week 1. The way that it works is it's points total on wins, and then it's going to be the round differentials. Everyone's going to have a bye. It only shows 5 rounds here, but we're planning on doing 7. And yeah, so everyone's going to have a bye, and the reason why is because depending on how many wins you have depends on your point total. So Ronin had a bye round 1, and it's showing that they only have 7 points from this. So a little different with the points. We'll definitely next week get all of the understandings of how exactly to obtain points depending on wins, etc., and get more info for you guys instead of just kind of like throwing random not confirmed knowledge. So I'm pretty sure it's like okay. So here we go. In chat, Tickles is in chat. He's chilling with us, and he says it's always 1 point for a win and 2 points for a match win. So depending on it, let's say 3 points for Exotic French here, while Exotic French gets 3 points, Ronin gets 5 points, but because they won the match, they get 2. So depending on the win, it depends on how many points they get. So with those points, it's showing that Dynasty had a bye on round 2, so they only have 3 points because they didn't have a full week. So it's hard to say exactly what's going on with the points because people are having buys. But what we can say is Paradox has won both of their matches, which is why they have 14 points here. And Paradox versus Enigma last week was pretty insane. We got to watch and cast the last like 4 matches of that. Because we were casting Exotic French versus Ronin. Last week, everybody played on Sunday, so we weren't able to cast all of the matches. Yeah, what happened is Enigma was up 1-4. Platt got one of the wins for Paradox, and the last 4 wins, Alto was the last like anchor, and he happened to win 4 matches in a row, and it was pretty sick. And all of them were super close matches too. Like literally, like both Tems had like 2% HP, and it was literally off to a speed top, like whoever won speed. Or yeah, it was some sick games. Yeah, both the players showing really good showings. Like they had, I mean, they played really well. It was just also just had that like a teeny bit of like one thing that would like make him just like win the game just slightly though, just very slightly, and it was so sick. But yeah, extremely good match. Can't wait to cast all of these games this week. We have Exotic French versus Ronin. It came down to it went 3-3, and then Zuxo on the team happened to win 2 in a row after that. He won 3 games total. Zuxo is definitely the MVP in that matchup, and yeah, definitely good games for sure. Exotic French, really good team. We just have so many good clubs. Like we have like the 4 staple teams that everybody kind of knows of, and that's Enigma, Paradox, Exotic French, and Ronin. And then Yip is Carth's team. Carthth and Carthth. I can't. Why can't I remember his name?
Carthh, Pradi, Temtem Up.
No, I know Pradi and Tup Up, but who is the person who made it? He
Oh,
doesn't play
Snitch
anymore. Yeah, Snitch. Okay, yeah.
or
So
Stitch.
yeah,
One of the two.
Snitch and Carthth kind of created their own Yip squad, and they wanted it to be like a meme, kind of a meme kind of like name for it. So they chose Yip. I'm pretty sure I was there when everybody was like, he was like, "Yo, what should we name the team?" And like everyone's like, we should name it Yip, and everybody starts spamming Yip in chat, and so he just decided on Yip. Everybody kind of agreed with it, so they chose Yip. This was like weeks ago, and yeah, decided on Yip, and everybody loves it. I love it. I think it's great, and yeah, and then Plus has his squad, which is Transcendent. It used to be the PlusOP pack or something like that, I think, and then you changed the squad name. So yeah, with we didn't see any of those games. I'm pretty sure that was the earliest match of the day, and and yeah, it happens to go 5-1. And yeah, this week it's gonna be really nice. This week we have on Friday. So if everyone wants to put in their calendars, on Friday, um, Friday is gonna be Dynasty versus Yip. So Dynasty here versus Yip, gonna be on Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if anybody wants to make sure they have that locked in, I'm gonna try to get home early. I get home at 2 p.m. Eastern, so I'm gonna try to like get home early, get everything set, eat some food really quick, and just like cast those matches. And then on Saturday we're gonna have Ronin. We're gonna have Ronin versus Paradox. So that's gonna be a really hype matchup. Pretty much the game of the week last week was Paradox versus Enigma. I think Paradox is extremely strong. So Ronin only showed 1 game against Exotic French, which Exotic French is also a really strong team. Um, I mean, pretty much everybody's really strong, but of the 4 squads that have been around the longest, Exotic, Ronin, Enigma, and Paradox, anytime these 4 squads play against each other, it's always going to be like really close games. And yeah, so Ronin versus Paradox is probably going to be the game to watch next week. I mean, not even in a bias standpoint, it's really close. Because on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, by the way, is Ronin versus Paradox, and then on Sunday is going to be Exotic French versus Enigma. So Exotic French versus Enigma, these are also like another, really close team. So it's really close for what the game of the week is going to be. It's between Paradox and Ronin, or Enigma and Exotic French. So if you had to choose one game to watch because you're available at one of these times, uh, definitely one of these games. If you want to watch some like really close games, some new clubs, definitely check out Dynasty versus Yip. Yep isn't exactly new. It's just a new club. Like Carth's been playing for a long time. Top Up's been playing like they've both been playing like pre-alpha, right? So, uh, yeah, it's not like they're new players or anything. They're just a new club that's I guess you could say not as established or created early as these four teams. So hopefully, Exotic French is gonna be 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. So yeah, these three games. If anybody wants to check them out, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Friday, it's gonna be literally Dynasty versus Yip, and then PlusOP's weekly is gonna be right after. So it's gonna be literally a whole day of just matches for the weekend. So it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, so we have Club War scoreboard. It's looking like Paradox is first right now, mainly due to that nail biter finish versus Enigma. Enigma just happened to lose out on those 3 points on the final match. But yeah, if it super super close match, and that brings Paradox into a winning situation in the Club Wars right now against Enigma. So as always, Carthh, who is, the leader, I guess. I don't really know who the leader is, but somebody who's within Yip, uh, always creates a tier list. We use that tier list. We talk to him. He always brings it towards us. Gives us this tier list. We bring it on the stream, and we showcase that to you. And here is the new tier list. A few differences in this tier list. Yeah, I think if you want to go over the top 6, which hasn't even been touched, you can if you'd like.
Well, to say first off, yes, I'm still here, even though it doesn't show. He
Wait,
ruined it.
I ruined it? No, no, dude. Oops.
I'm saying
Hi,
try to
stream
fix it.
Servo here. My bad, dude. I definitely did that. Oops. I gray screened you, bro. Rip.
I was trying to send a message. You didn't click Discord, so I couldn't send it.
What? I don't even remember what I clicked. Oh yeah, I was okay. My bad. My bad. Oof.
Alright,
Oof.
now that's fixed. Tier list, everybody.
We do have a tier list. You moved Gary to the bottom of the E.
Look, you don't understand, alright? If you were in Carth's stream, you would know that Gary is bottom of E for his protection.
Yeah, nobody shall play him.
People don't know. Gary isn't ready for this world, okay? It's nasty with a bunch of natures and toxics.
True.
He'll come out when there's a bunch of fires and fires take over
Nope.
and the world's burning.
Nobody play Gary. Don't kill your Gary, alright? Let him be safe. Let him chill, alright? Let him be happy where he is. Let him
Don't
Gary
uppercut
cute.
your own Gary with +2 size bunch to activate Hopeless Tonic.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, top 6 of the tier list is the same. I mean, we already talked about it last week. Kinu, Naga, Raze. Typically put any of these two together. Well, it's either pretty much Kinu Naga or Kinu Raze into a squad, and you can pretty much do really well, or all three if you want to kind of combine the way that they play, depending on which one's banned, and choose which one you'd want to play with. So it's really, really strong. Volerand is just great, especially now with the toxic comps kind of coming into play a lot more often and doing extremely well. Volerand's pretty much the auto ban. If you want to use your other 7 Tems against toxic comps, Volerand is going to be that ban. Volphy, extremely strong for securing kills, and Plague is really good, guys. You should probably click Plague as much as possible. And then Gaialis, it's super good typing, high damage for Crystal and melee type, and high speed. So can't go wrong with any of these 6 Tems. If you can get your hands on them, definitely do it. And yeah, Size Bunch is like that really close A tier. It's like so close. I'm not gonna lie. It's so good, but there's also weaknesses towards it to where it's hard to say if it's A tier yet. I think once more people start playing HP special defense with the Kinu buff, it can't die to anything, and it always gets the wreck off with heat up. I think once that gets played more, I think it might get pushed up a little bit. I think it's extremely strong, and there's a couple of people playing it, and it's doing work. It's putting in a lot of work. Even showcased in Club Wars, Ronin versus what can I think? Exotic French. There was a couple people that were doing it, so and it won both games. I think it's just so good. What are your thought process on B tier right now?
I think B tier kind of resembled the culture shock of A tier originally, where no one really figured out how to deal with them. B tier is now okay. We know how to deal with them, but they're still good if they're not checked properly.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I think Yukama is definitely coming back up, especially since toxic teams are coming in flourishing. Um, Fire Tems do decently against the toxic comp, so having like Yukama and Platimus kind of checks the fires really well.
I thought you were
Uh,
about to say Fire Temps do decently into Okama. I was like, wait a minute.
no, 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 no. Decent into the toxic teams, which is why Yukama is seeing so much play in toxic comps. It just kind of checks those, and so I definitely understand why that's like showcasing up in top B. Um, Scunch still chilling. I think when okay, so I think the reason why Scunch is definitely up here is because when you run the Scunch, you're normally running Dialis Scunch, and then you're or Dialis, sorry, Size Munch. When you're running with Size Munch, you normally want Dialis, Size Munch, and Scunch. You want 3 fighting. So this I think that's the reason why is because out of all of the Tems to be your third fight melee Tem, you want probably Scunch. I mean, there's Scunch or Mashuk, and Mashuk kind of doesn't fit as well as Scunch does. So definitely understandable on that part. And if there's no mental Tems, Scunch just goes off. Like it just wreaks havoc.
Does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, Two Vine's still chilling up here. Cerny still chilling up here. Grandpa, Grumper. Grumper's seeing a lot of play mainly because of Naga. It's just probably the best synergy with Naga.
It's also the only electric Tem we have.
Yeah, and it checks. Yeah, it also checks Volan extremely well. And yeah, on turn 1, Mud Shower against Gaialis is good as well, so it's hard to start with Gaialis on the other team. So it's really good. It is really, really good, I think. I think Grumper. I remember in the beginning, Grumper was just like, nobody played it because they're just like, dude, it's weak to melee and water, and it just gets destroyed by it. Like, no. Like, we're not going to play Grumper. And it's so slow because everybody was in, like, that speed mentality where you need full speed in order to, like, kill anything. So, yeah. The more and more people were playing Grumper and realizing how strong it was instead of just looking at it on paper and being like, no, this is bad. Grumper seeing a lot of play and doing extremely well. Drakash was kind of the same way. Drakash was like bottom D tier for a while too until people started like finding ways to be able to run Drakash, and now it's kind of like the Sentinel with it does extremely well against any type of Hypno comps. If they're running Grandpa Kinu with Hypno, just I mean it kind of counteracts it. Now instead of you being able to gain tempo by using Hypno, if you use Hypno and they have a Drakash on the bench, now you're actually putting yourself in a really awkward situation where is he going to bring in Drakash or is he going to let this Tem sleep for the extra turn? And now you have to think about that for a second and be like, so if I think Drakash is coming in, do I just double in and try to counter this side? But if I do that, then the Tem that's asleep is going to kill me. And it's like, it puts kind of weird situations into the Hypno user when Drakash is on the bench. So I think once people started using that along with double or even triple fire, it's been doing really, really well. What are your thoughts on the Wally though? I think personally, I think Lawali is kind of getting swapped out for Saku.
I'm still seeing Loali being played, so I haven't seen much of Saku right now. But I can see it being switched out as Saku provides it a little bit better with toxic synergies. Wally can obviously still do that, but it's a little bit better DPS, and it actually brings more turbo Wily does not from Saku. So Wily's kind of this fast speed setter compared to Saku's kind of tankiness and toxic spreader.
Yeah, I mean, I see both of them doing extremely well right now. Um, there's just with toxic comps, a lot of people are running. Okay, so if you've been watching some of not just Tsubaki, Tsubaki's kind of like the one showcasing it more because he streams, but there are other players in the community that are running Saku Cerny, Kinu with. It doesn't have to have Volfi, but with Volfi for the 4 nature, it used to be 3 nature, right? But now they're adding in the Saku for 4 nature instead of Lawali for the 4th nature, and then they're adding in like a toxic team towards it. And if you get out Cernif and Saku, it's like now which one do you hit, right? If you hit Saku, it's gonna Lifeful Sap. If you hit Cernif, it's going to heal. Um, and if you don't have the right team for it, if you don't have the right fires, you don't have any of that, then it's like honestly like Saku can just kind of win the game. It has insane damage right now. With the Wind Specialist and Air Fan, you're running HP special attack. Saku is actually extremely strong and seeing a lot of play with a lot of the top players. Tsubaki is really the only one showcasing it right now, like live on streams and stuff. So I think if I had to choose, we always go through a segment where what Tem do you think is going to see a lot more play in the next week? And definitely for me, it's going to be Saku for this week. I think it just goes well with Toxic Comps very well, and it also goes well with the nature synergies that are running around as well.
If I had to give a guess, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't really thought of much this week, because everything felt the same. Uh, honestly, I have no idea. I'm actually stumped on this one.
I'm not too sure either. Besides Saku, like you could say,
You know what? I believe in Trilix. I'm gonna go with Golder.
gonna go with Golder.
Yep. Slow Bamboozler for Naga. Applies Toxic Ticks. Beats most other Toxic Temps.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's a lot of like people putting in Pig instead of Golder. So who knows? Maybe they want the toxic damage instead of the wind damage and throw in Golder instead of Pig. Maybe. I think the reason why people usually go with Pig instead of Golder is because Pig still can see really good play even without it, without Naga. So, but
If
yeah,
you're playing Pig, put some special attack on it. It doesn't have to be max, but put at least some, because God, does it feel awful
yeah,
without it.
it's so good. Dealing out damage the whole time, and then anytime you get focused, you can kind of choose a Lifeful Sap turn. And if you have natures with you, whether it's Kinu, Cernif, you can use the revitalizes, and you can, yeah, it's hard to choose which one you need to kill when there's a Cernif and a Saku on the board. It's kind of like that double, like that double team, like that duo that you just kind of don't want to deal with. So a lot of people, in which the matches that I've been seeing and spectating, it seems like there's usually one of them banned. Uh, they usually don't come out right away on a starting two, but randomly in the game when they see a good opportunity to come in both at the same time, it's like once they get in for free, they're able to use turns freely on that turn. They get set up extremely well, and it's hard to deal with. It's really, really hard to deal with, especially since you have fires. Fires are still going to take a ton of damage from a tornado, and uh, yeah, and then also if you have Bush active, it's like now you attack a Saku, but if he has Lifeful Sap, do you really want to hit a Saku, or do you attack into a Bush, which stalls a whole turn, and it makes it really weird for the opponent. Yeah, 2 Rock is definitely hitting that C tier right now, and a lot of people in chat are saying 2 Rock, just because, I mean, I'm pretty sure a couple players have been playing a little bit of 2 Rock, just kind of experimenting with it in the ranked ladder, and they've been doing well with it, so. So we're going with Saku and Golder.
Mm-hmm.
Saku and Golder. I can agree with that for sure. Yeah. we're gonna not fully end it, but we're gonna end it with events this week. We kind of talked about it already. PlusOP weekly, 7 p.m. Eastern. I mean, that's when check-in starts. It's every single week, so it's gonna be this 26 tournament. Um, it is the second tournament of the 4 that go into the monthly tournament. So it's the second in order to get registered in. If you get into top 4, you get into the monthly tournament, which has the top 4 players and 4 tournaments. And then yeah, so PlusOP weekly Friday. Did I do it again?
It's still broken.
Oh, dude, I didn't know it was
I'm trying
broken.
to get my messages on stream.
Oh my gosh, dude, I suck. I'm a terrible host, dude. Oof. My bad. I feel
Hi,
bad, dude.
everybody.
What's up? Yeah, so PlusOP weekly check-ins at 7 p.m. starts at 7:45 Eastern. Every single week Friday. Then we have Club Wars Friday. We have Dynasty versus Yip at 3 p.m. Eastern. Saturday we have Ronin versus Paradox at 11 a.m. Eastern. And then Sunday, Exotic French versus Enigma at 1 p.m. Eastern. And also don't forget, if you are a newer competitive player and you want to get some tournament practice in, there's always daily Temporium tournaments. Make sure to hit up the Temporium, check in on their schedule and see if they have the matches up. And they usually take, is it 8 or 16? I'm pretty sure they take 8 people, and yeah, they're all different times. It's hard to say what time. But yeah, it's always random time. So definitely just check the schedule in the Temporium Discord. Hit them up and yeah, see if you, it's Monday through Friday if you want to play some daily Temporium tournaments. So yeah, anything to close out the hour long podcast as normal?
Protect Gary.
Protect
Love the
Gary.
Gary.
Oh, and a quick question about what everyone was talking about Paharik being a Luma in the bottom and E tier. It's because with the win comp, the control win comp, people run Grandpa Paharik, but that's the only time Paharik sees play. So I think we touched up on that a week or 2 ago, but yeah. All right, Saku and Golder. Hopefully they come into play. If you want to stick around, we're gonna be Luma hunting because finally Kiswa Tems are here. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit, and I hope everybody has a good day if you guys do decide to leave. And yeah, have a good day, have a good night. So, peace.